When the nation stood behind their soldiers in unity, Congress chose doubt over duty. Once again, questions are being raised, but this time not on the enemy, but on the success of the Indian Army during Operation Sindoor. Another senior Congress leader, Prithvi Raj Chauhan, pointing fingers at the valor of our Indian Army. When asked for an apology, the Congress leader justified his statement.
पहिल्या दिवशी आपला संपूर्ण पराभव झाला. 7 तारखेला जे हवाई युद्ध अर्ध्या तासात झालं त्यामध्ये आपला टोटल पराभव झाला. हे कोणी मान्य करो अगर न करो. आणि त्यामुळे त्या दिवशी भारताची जी विमानं पडली त्या दिवशी सगळा भारताचा एअरफोर्स हा ग्राउंड झाला. त्यानंतर एकही विमान उडलं नाही. पण कुठेही विमान उडलं की पाकिस्तानचं तुमचं विमान ग्वाल्हेर असेल किंवा भटिंडा असेल किंवा सिरसा असेल तिथं वाढायची शक्यता असल्यामुळं आपलं कंप्लीट एअरफोर्स ग्राउंड झालं.
मैं बाद में आराम से बात करूंगा. अभी
आराम से बात करेंगे. सर आपको ये जो बयान है उस पर आप माफी मांग रहे हैं?
बिल्कुल सवाल नहीं उठता. बिल्कुल सवाल नहीं उठता.
हाँ जी सर,
सवाल नहीं उठता.
सवाल
मैं बात करूंगा ना डिटेल में.
माफी मांगने का सवाल
माफी कहाँ मांगू?
लेकिन आपके हिसाब से स्टेटमेंट गलत था क्या सर?
बिल्कुल
लोग मीडिया में वही सब जगह ऐसे ही चला कि अपमान हुआ है.
मैं करूंगा, डिटेल बात करूंगा जी. विल टॉक टू मीडिया प्रॉपर्ली.
सो आर यू अपोलोजाइजिंग राइट नाउ?
आउट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन.
ओके,
राइट टू आस्क क्वेश्चंस. अभी ये मत लो यार.
अच्छा ठीक,
बिल्कुल मेरा राइट है. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन गिव्स मी राइट टू आस्क क्वेश्चंस.
The Congress meanwhile openly siding with their leader.
प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री रहे, महाराष्ट्र के केंद्रीय मंत्री रहे, मैंने उनका ऐसा कोई बयान नहीं सुना है और जब तक मैं उनसे सुन न लूं मैं उस पर कोई प्रतिक्रिया नहीं दूंगा. मैं सिर्फ इतना कहूंगा, मैं भारत की सेना का पराक्रम का पूरा देश ऋणी है.
Chauhan not only insulted the army but also the victims of terrorism.
See, first of all, he need to apologize because I am again saying it is not about any political party. It is about Indian Army. Second of all, when he comes up and says that we do not need defense system, then he should understand that if he's sleeping at his house properly, if he's at his home, if his family is safe, it is all because of the Indian Army. It is all because of the defense system.
The distasteful remark has triggered condemnation from several leaders. Union Minister Giriraj Singh says, no one has the right to insult the valor of the armed forces. Those who do so can never think of the nation's interest. It has become Congress's habit to insult the armed forces.
सेना के शौर्य पर किसी को गाली देने का अधिकार नहीं है. जो लोग सेना के शौर्य को अपमानित करते हैं वो कभी देश हित की बात सोच ही नहीं सकते.
BJP also called Chauhan a Pakistani spokesperson.
Prithviraj Chauhan, a former chief minister and a senior Congress leader, has ranted like a third-rate Pakistani spokesperson, deliberately maligning our armed forces, calling our armed forces to be disbanded on Vijay Divas. This is a deliberate insult, maligning our armed forces. Shame on the Congress party. And why has Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi not condemned and initiated action against Mr. Prithviraj Chauhan?
As Congress continues to raise questions, the backlash only grows louder from leaders and from families fallen victim to terrorism. For many, doubting Operation Sindoor isn't just politics, it's an insult to...
Breaking news coming in right now, viewers. These are scenes coming in from outside the Indian Embassy in Dhaka where some protests broke out and they were targeting the Indian Embassy, a Bangladeshi group targeting the Indian Embassy in Dhaka. They were marching towards the Indian Embassy. Remember, in fact, New Delhi has also had summoned the Bangladeshi envoy today. And at the same time, we see that Bangladeshi group targeting Indian Embassy. They were stopped on their way, in fact, but the fact that they were taking up this march to target the Indian Embassy, visuals just coming in on your screens in a few moments from now. India, remember, today summoned Bangladesh High Commissioner after the Seven Sisters remark, and now you have this visual. There you can see this whole group. Apart from those who are recording this, you also see some police personnel as well in the frame. And these barricades they are attempting to breach the barricades also because there's heavy security deployment. As today, remember, India had summoned Bangladesh High Commissioner after the Seven Sisters remark, and by NCP, Bangladesh party leader Hasnat Abdullah's anti-India remark. And now we see, on the other hand, this anti-India movement in Dhaka is only picking up a momentum with this kind of a march that is being taken out. Even young people, we see almost teenagers there, or I don't know, they are students, or many people who are part of this group. Shavan Sen joins us on the broadcast. Shavan, tell us more about this march that was taken out and this protest, this group that was heading towards the Indian embassy.
Well, in fact, the reports that we have right now, this protest started roughly around 3:30 this afternoon, and the protest march was towards the Indian embassy. The demand that they have made is with regards to the extradition of Sheikh Hasina. In fact, Mohammad Yunus's administration has already made an official request to India with regards to extradition of Sheikh Hasina. It seems that attempts were basically made to break the barricades and move towards the Indian embassy. We're also trying to get an official confirmation coming in from the Indian embassy with regards to whether at all some security breach has actually taken place or not. But it seems that the matter escalated a little after 4 o'clock when the barricades were broken. This actually happened in front of Hussain Market in Badda, which is where the Indian embassy is. Now, at this spot, what we are being told that people of July Unity, they took a position at Pragati Sarani, and where the long march could not proceed, that's where they were essentially stopped. But the plan was basically to carry out these protests outside the Indian embassy. And in fact, this comes on a day when you've already had the Bangladesh High Commissioner who was summoned by the Ministry of External Affairs following several comments that have been made by Bangladeshi political leaders over the last few days, particularly targeting the northeastern states. And that is something that the Ministry of External Affairs has taken a strong objection about, a message that has already been sent across to the Bangladeshi envoy here in the national capital. But remember, this is not the first time that we are looking at some protests taking place at the Indian embassy in Dhaka, particularly after Sheikh Hasina was here. In fact, with Sheikh Hasina in the national capital, India has made its position very clear as far as Sheikh Hasina's presence here. And in fact, this is a decision that would be taken purely by Sheikh Hasina, whether at all she basically returns to Dhaka or not. Time and again, Sheikh Hasina, while speaking to Awami League leaders, have already made her intentions very clear that she would want to return when it is conducive, because given the fact that she faces multiple death threats also. So these are important aspects that ought to be highlighted right now, given the fact that these are essentially at a time when the protests have only intensified.
It's a long march. It's called the Long March, and it is, we've seen, Shavan, that how radical extremists have, time and again taken over the streets of Dhaka ever since Hasina's government has been toppled. And now we see that the anti-India sentiments are being also stoked time and again. And there's no end to it. And this is what we see, how Indian diplomats have also been threatened so many times. The security has also been now finally increased, as we see even the barricades have been put up en route the embassy. There's an entire movement and propaganda that is picking up steam, especially amongst the youth. Youth is being mobilized in Bangladesh to fan the anti-India sentiment.
Very little has been done by the Yunus administration to put an end to this. In fact, all attempts have largely been made to fan anti-India sentiments in Dhaka. As far as Sheikh Hasina is concerned, the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, remember, India has made it very clear. It is the prerogative of the leader whether at all she wants to return or not, given the fact that there is a danger to her life. More importantly, the Awami League has been banned from participating in the upcoming elections, and that is the reason why Sheikh Hasina has maintained that this is a witch hunt that has been carried out against her, and more importantly, a fair trial wasn't even conducted in Bangladesh, and that is the reason why. Remember, she has said that if at all UNIS government wants to contest this, she should be UNIS government should be taking this entire matter to an international court where an arbitration should be taking place. Today, what you are essentially seeing is that yet another time that UNIS administration has completely failed to ensure that there is law and order in Dhaka. Now you have youths, multiple groups now basically protesting outside the Indian embassy, where you're largely looking at the embassy being targeted by these groups where they're demanding that the extradition of Sheikh Hasina should take place without even giving any fair trial to the former Prime Minister.
Right, Shravan. In fact, today, when the envoy was summoned, the Bangladesh High Commissioner was summoned over Hasna Abdullah's Seven Sisters remark. If you're picking up anything from the ministry, what was really communicated to him today?
Well, in fact, we've just got some more details with regards to what the Ministry of External Affairs had to say. In fact, I'm going to just take you through some of the details. Now, a strong objection on what really has happened. Now, strong objection, when I say it, is with regards to the conduct of several of these leaders who were present there, number one. Number two, what is important to point out here is that these are leaders who have time and again tried to incite violence, particularly threatening that the northeastern states would be cut off. These are the threats that have been issued by some prominent political leaders in Bangladesh to begin with. The second important point here is that very little has been done to actually make a stop, to make an end to these kind of statements that are being made. And this is exactly what the Ministry of External Affairs had to convey to the Bangladeshi envoy who was summoned earlier today. But these images that are now basically coming in from the streets of Dhaka clearly goes on to indicate that very little has been done to bring the situation under control.
Absolutely. That's the big update we are getting in right now from Dhaka. These are scenes from outside the Indian embassy as the anti-India sentiments continue to be fueled by the radicalists. We see how the youngsters are being mobilized and they are being pushed towards this anti-India hatred propaganda marches. They were attempting to lay siege to the Indian embassy in Dhaka. And there's unrest once again in Dhaka for the past 1 year, more than a year, in fact, that we are witnessing such instability in Dhaka. And there has been nothing, as Shravan was pointing out. There's little been done to, in fact, contain this situation and the fueling of such targeting of India, targeting Indian properties or even people or Hindus for that matter. What's been happening in Dhaka is fully on display today. Once again, Indian embassy in Dhaka being targeted today, and this comes on a day when the High Commissioner of Bangladesh is summoned for the one of our political party leaders' remarks on severing Seven Sisters, these northeastern states from India. Such threats have been issued by leaders. Radicalization is at its peak in Bangladesh. You see, these young children are jumping on the barricades. What is happening? Absolute breakdown of law and order in Dhaka, and how the Indian embassy is being targeted. And this, of course, is a march that is now has been obstructed by the security personnel. Inflammatory, incendiary, anti-India comments have been made time and again. And now we see this is the long march. It's called the Long March to Indian High Commission in Badda, which police have now obstructed. The march to Indian High Commission program of July Oikea, demanding extradition of Sheikh Hasina and others. And remember, Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death, and she is not in. She had fled from Bangladesh after her government was toppled last year, as we saw what happened in Dhaka and other places in Bangladesh. Ambassador Veena Sikri is joining us on the broadcast. From Ms. Sikri, Ambassador Sikri, this is the state of affairs in Dhaka. Now they have radicalized groups, youngsters, children. They are all part of this group that was marching towards the embassy. The embassy in Dhaka, they attempted to even lay siege, and now they have been finally, thankfully, obstructed by the police. But what's really happening? How do you read the situation?
Well, the Bangladesh interim regime, they have declared the dates for the election, and the Bangladesh interim regime is supported entirely by the Jamaat-e-Islami. The Jamaat-e-Islami is trying to come to power, but they are seeing that nobody is accepting an election which is without the Awami League. Everybody wants complete participation in the election. So, also there's been violence, like one of the National Citizens Party leader was shot at on a few days ago. But instead of tackling the law and order situation, instead of tackling what's happening within their own country, the interim regime only wants to blame India for everything. So immediately after that shooting incident on one of the political members of that party, immediately our High Commissioner was called in and told that, but India had nothing to do with it. We have explained repeatedly that we will never interfere in anything in Bangladesh. We will never allow Indian soil to be used by anybody against the interests of the Bangladesh people. We see our friendship as a people-to-people friendship. But instead of accepting that, now today, even our government called in the High Commissioner of Bangladesh and explained very strongly to him, because this is unacceptable. You know, a march on the Indian High Commission, the security is the responsibility of the local government. And as you said, I'm glad that they have stopped it. But it's unacceptable that they should be marching like this on a friendly country like India. On what basis? There is no investigation, nothing. They just want to blame India for everything. And there is open talk in Bangladesh that they will blame India, and because of that they will probably call off the elections or something like that. I think it's a very difficult situation. And we are seeing also that the interim regime is unable to control the situation within their own country. They are calling up, they're talking repeatedly about the northeastern states of India. When Mohammed Yunus went to China, he was speaking to Chinese businessmen. He spoke about, as if Bangladesh controls the northeastern states of India. Completely unacceptable. And even now on the street and in their newspapers and in these specialized things, they're keeping on talking about the northeastern states. And even Asim Munir, as you know, the Pakistan leader who is trying his best to draw closer and closer to Bangladesh, go back to a pre-1971 situation. He also has said the next attack on India will come from the east. So I think it's a very dangerous situation that is being built up there. And I'm really surprised that the interim regime is not taking more serious action. I think the government of India did the right thing by calling in the High Commissioner, the Bangladesh High Commissioner, and explaining to him the situation. And I hope that now there will be a big change.
Ambassador Sikri, there's no end to what's been happening in Dhaka for the past 1 year or so, that the radicals continue to fuel these sentiments against India, against the Hindu minorities. And we see that there is no checks and balances. What we are seeing is that this situation is only going from bad to worse. And so much so that even the radical groups have been given legitimacy in the country, under the watch, right under the nose of Yunus.
Yes, but Mohammed Yunus is completely encouraging the radical group. Yep. He is being guided only by the Jamaat-e-Islami. Whatever Jamaat-e-Islami wants is happening. And the Jamaat-e-Islami leaders have openly talking about an Islamic state, about a caliphate in such situations. And the Jamaat-e-Islami does not even want their traditional partnership with the BNP. They want to only bring together the Islamist groups, and they are bringing together a coalition of Islamic groups like the Islami Andolan Bangladesh. Even the newly formed Students' Party is really all members of the Islami Chhatra Shibir. So by bringing together all these parties, they're signaling their intention to bring about an Islamic regime, an Islamist regime in Bangladesh. And they're whipping up the frenzy of the people in favor of this Islamic regime and against India. So the anti-Indian propaganda is a complete part of their roadmap for achieving what they want. And the banning of the Awami League from participation in the election, banning the activities of the Awami League and preventing them from participating in the election, is only to show that Awami League still maintains its vote bank. The people want a liberal, pluralistic, democratic structure in Bangladesh. They want secularism in Bangladesh, and they are not in favor of the Awami League being left out of the election. It doesn't mean that they will vote for Awami League or that Awami League will come to power. No, but they want a democratic structure wherein all political parties take part, and whoever the people vote for, those people will form the government. But instead of allowing that to happen, afraid of the Awami League's popularity, the regime has now cancelled the participation of the Awami League, and this has led to a lot of unrest because the people, the Awami League supporters are there, their vote bank is still there, they haven't moved to any other party. So it is a very dangerous situation, and India, I'm sure, is watching it very carefully. That we are taking our own steps to protect our interests, sovereignty and territorial integrity. But at the same time, we are trying to tell the Bangladesh government regime again and again that they must respect democratic structures. They must they must understand that our friendship is with the people of Bangladesh. We want a friendly relationship with Bangladesh.
Ambassador Sikri, I apologize to interrupt you. That we're getting in fresh visuals, and just see the slogans they're raising. Just look at this, viewers. Hear this out. All right, so that is the long march to the Indian Embassy. And there you had the sound up. You could hear they were sloganeering. They are jumping off the barricades. They're jumping off the barricades. And they're all young people. And we have Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor joining us from the newsroom as well. Abhishek, well, you see that these are youngsters once again. These protests that Bangladesh has seen before, now they are targeting India. They have come very, very close to the Indian Embassy in Dhaka. They are breaching barricades, vandalism, sloganeering. It's all going out there in full public display outside the Indian Embassy.
Well, this was expected, and that's why the Bangladesh High Commissioner Riaz Hamidullah was summoned earlier in the morning to the South Block and issued a demarche that there are some threats being received by the Indian High Commission, that the Bangladesh authorities should be looking into it. We are now looking at these pictures which have panned out just in a couple of hours, and complete lawlessness there, obviously orchestrated by the regime there, because it cannot happen without the protection and a wink coming in from the establishment that the law enforcement agencies stand by as these number of people and crowd gathers and carry out this kind of vandalism. So obviously what we are seeing is completely lawlessness, complete chaos in Dhaka, targeting Indian High Commission and the establishment. Remember, earlier in the day, the authorities at the High Commission decided to curtail the activities of the visa application center, suspecting that there might be unruly scenes and expecting that this kind of lawlessness might happen with the kind of announcements that were made, the threats that were being received. The High Commission, of course, the target of the long march. Remember, you cannot miss the irony of the word long march being used there, because these protesters want Sheikh Hasina to be sent back after a tribunal had given a death sentence and wants her back for war crimes in Bangladesh. That's what the Bangladesh authorities want from India, but to create this kind of pressure situation, to create this kind of lawlessness, and to create this kind of security threat for Indian High Commission is clearly in breach of Vienna Convention, and that's something we should be asking. Going back to Ambassador Veena Sikri, ma'am, you think this is absolute breach of Vienna Convention that the authorities in Dhaka of the regime there have allowed this kind of situation to happen? All right, I think we lost the line there with Ambassador Veena Sikri. We'll get her back just in a bit. She has served a term there in Dhaka. But what is important is that this kind of situation of lawlessness, this kind of gathering of crowd in these numbers is not possible unless the administration winks. And that seems to be happening because since the verdict of the tribunal against Sheikh Hasina, the deposed Prime Minister of a legitimate government, an elected government who was deposed in a coup, and there are telltale signs that the coup was orchestrated by forces inimical to India, by forces who do not have the best interest of Bangladesh, but just to see Bangladesh become a satellite client state and carried out the coup against Sheikh Hasina government, and she had to leave in those circumstances to save her life. And these crowds are baying for her blood, and they want her to be sent back. While there is an extradition request, there is a due process that has to be followed. In the meanwhile, to create a pressure situation by by indulging in this kind of lawlessness clearly shows the short-sightedness of the regime. Remember, when a similar situation emerged in Kathmandu in Nepal, we have the government in just a few months deciding everything, putting a deadline, announcing a date for elections. But here in Dhaka, they are still debating, deliberating, because Mohammad Yunus, of course, has tasted blood, tasted power, and irrespective of the fact that he is not a mass leader, he cannot get elected. Even the BNP is getting frustrated with him. He wants to somehow create a situation where his stay in power can be prolonged. And so Sheikh Hasina becomes a pivot, and he's using that to create a situation where he can justify his remaining in power for that much longer. That seems to be the case in Dhaka with these pictures coming in. If Ambassador Veena Sikri is back, we'll try and get her. But earlier in the morning, okay, she's not with us, but earlier in the morning we had the Minister of External Affairs issuing a summons and a demarche to the Bangladesh High Commissioner here in New Delhi, suspecting that this can lead to a law and order situation, given the kind of threats that were being received. As a preventive measure, the authorities also curtailed the activities and the working time of the embassy, the consular section for the visas. Remember, India has the biggest visa operating center anywhere in the world in Bangladesh, and that's because so many Bangladeshis depend on India for their healthcare needs, for their education needs, for many other needs, business needs, etc. And yet you have a situation where the Bangladesh regime of Mohammad Yunus is forgetting everything and letting this lawlessness prevail.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can see how these radicalized groups, they are just climbing up the barricades, breaching the barricades with their banners and slogans, and they are mobilizing more and more people. We also saw some kids jumping up the barricades, Abhishek. I mean, there is, there is so much of, we've seen these so-called Gen Z protests across South Asia. We've seen in the neighborhood there has been a cause of worry, there has been cause of destabilization, and it still continues. And they have become a ripe opportunity for the radical groups to in fact target the forces and target India now, how we see the false narrative that is being weaved and fueled in the country, in Bangladesh, especially what we see on a day like the Vijay Divas on 1971 war anniversary, which in fact led to the birth of Bangladesh, Abhishek. We see the kind of comments that are being made and the kind of protests, so-called marches that have been taken out to target India, which in fact had helped in the making of Bangladesh.
Absolutely, and in fact, Rakshita, Ambassador Veena Sikri is back with us. Very good evening to you, ma'am. Does this not amount to breach of Vienna Convention, failing to provide security to the Indian High Commission there in Dhaka?
Oh, absolutely. This is absolutely unacceptable what is happening in Dhaka, and the visuals of these students being whipped up into a frenzy and then marching towards the Indian High Commission is absolutely a complete breach of the Vienna Convention on Protection of Diplomatic Personnel and Diplomatic Property. And in fact, there should be a strong reaction from the government of the interim regime in Bangladesh, and they should be taking action to prevent this from happening. But of course, earlier today, as you know, that our government called in the Bangladesh High Commissioner in Delhi and spoke to him very strongly indeed, saying that this is unacceptable and they must stop this kind of frenzy. And there's no reaction from the Bangladesh government. And you know that a few days ago there was a shooting incident involving a political candidate for the election, and even that was being blamed on India. They called in our High Commissioner just like that, without any investigation, nothing at all. And I think that this business of this habit that the interim regime has fallen into of blaming India for every action, everything that's going on in Bangladesh, this attempt to whip up an anti-Indian frenzy is very, very dangerous. It affects the security and stability of our diplomatic staff there. It affects the security and stability of our borders, because we have a very long 4,000-kilometer border with Bangladesh. And it affects the bilateral friendship between the people of India and the people of Bangladesh. So this anti-Indianism that is being whipped up is very much linked to the elections which are forthcoming. And they are trying to, whip up take away the support from Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina that is still there in Bangladesh. They have banned the Awami League from participating in the elections, and because of that, even though they have banned it, the support for Awami League is still there. But they're trying to even, decimate that support by whipping up anger against her and against India. So I think that the government was absolutely correct to call in the Indian High Commissioner and to call in the Bangladesh High Commissioner and convey our views in no uncertain terms. And I hope that this should have led to an end to what is being shown on your screen, but it has not. And we have to consider what further action the government of India would be considering on this, because this is absolutely a very dangerous situation. I think there are hardly any occasion in any part of the world where you would have seen such demonstrations against the Indian High Commission, and with no action being taken by the police.
That's amazing. That despite knowing that this can lead to a security situation, Ambassador Sikri, this was allowed to happen despite Indian Ministry of External Affairs, issuing a demarche. This was allowed to happen. We had Hasnat Abdullah, the leader of the NCP, the National Citizen Party, just yesterday or day before yesterday, say that 7 sisters can be cut off. Muhammad Yunus has led from the front in terms of dog whistling, saying that India's northeast depends on Bangladesh. So obviously this is orchestrated, this is planned, this is aimed at creating a pressure situation, and in some ways shows the paucity of mind on the part of Dhaka that they can think that they can pressure India.
Well, this is all directly attributable to the pressure that Pakistan is applying on Bangladesh. Ever since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, Pakistan has been sending its generals and sending its ministers and sending all people to Dhaka to create the pre-1971 situation. And part of this venom that Pakistan is telling Bangladesh to pour on India is related to India's own sovereignty and territorial integrity. And Yunus himself, when he was in China in the month of June, I think, talking to the Chinese businessmen, spoke about the northeastern states as though Bangladesh has exclusive access. And after that, the people had just taken this up, and they are repeatedly talking about the northeastern states, and Asim Munir has himself spoken about an attack from the east. So this shows the completely unfriendly and inimical nature of this Yunus-led interim regime in Bangladesh. And I think that India has to really consider seriously what the next steps should be, because this kind of allowing the people to demonstrate in this manner is creating a feeling in Bangladesh that is completely incorrect. The people, in fact, are saying more and more, it was better before. Aage bhalo chilo. We don't accept what is happening now under the interim regime. This is what the people of Bangladesh are saying more and more. But to counter that and to blame everything on India, the Yunus regime is allowing this kind of goons to act freely, with the police just standing by helplessly.
Absolutely, Ambassador Sikri, as you rightly pointed out, that that there is, a fanning of the communal fire that continues, and this is all being done deliberately. It's all orchestrated. We see that how Muhammad Yunus has been, giving these forces a free run, and that's all being done keeping in mind the upcoming elections as well. We were literally dragged his feet to even announce those elections, Ambassador Sikri. He himself knows that in how much, in where he's actually standing is a complete, the entire state is in a disarray, and there is that he's doing everything possible to cling to power.
Yes, absolutely. These are nothing except efforts to cling to power, because his regime has proved to be completely unpopular. He has ruined the Bangladesh economy. There is high unemployment, high inflation, factories are shut down, people have nothing to do. And so to divert attention from all the ills that are there is no foreign investment coming in, no private investment coming in. So there is absolutely no hope for anybody there. The media is completely under control. They don't allow the media to write anything at all. And they have changed all the media boards and taken over whole media boardrooms. So it is a very, very difficult situation in Bangladesh today. But this kind of action, again, directly against the Indian High Commission, the properties, the people, the High Commissioner himself, this is something that is absolutely a new nadir, a new bottom that the Yunus regime has brought in. Okay,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Sikri, for joining us on Republic TV from Envoy to Bangladesh. Ambassador Veena Sikri was speaking to Republic TV and pointing out what's been going on in Bangladesh, how the radical elements have been given a free run. Muhammad Yunus continues to cling on to power and following the commands of the radical groups like Jamaat Islami. And this is the scene from outside the Indian Embassy in Dhaka, viewers, where the march has been obstructed by the police. Now we'll shift our focus to some other news that is coming in from Shamli district, viewers. This is from Western Uttar Pradesh. It's a big story, the triple murder case. Wife's decision to go to her parents' house without wearing the hijab proved fatal. And now we are getting in the All India Muslim Personal Law Board not reacting, in fact, it's refusing to comment. All India Muslim Personal Law Board and the AIMIM silent, complete silence on the matter. A man kills his own wife for over hijab and then kills two daughters, buries them in the house itself. And this matter comes to light. The bodies are excavated after 8-9 days, and this is what is happening. The Muslim Personal Law Board, the advocates of hijab, who go on to debate, who go on to the streets and talk about so-called targeting of minorities, misleading the minorities, and now they're silent on this murder. They're silent on this murder. Entire hijab lobby, Asaduddin Owaisi, Badruddin Ajmal, Maulana Madni, who just called for jihad recently. Maulana Mahmood Madni. The Madnis, the Ajmals, the Owaisis, they are all silent over this murder that took place, this triple murder. Innocent lives. 3 people, 3 women killed. 2 children, 2 girls, 1 woman killed. Why? Because of hijab. The woman refused to wear hijab. Husband kills and buries her. The 2 children also lose their lives. Merciless killing in name of hijab.
वो 1-1.25 महीना 1.5 महीना रही, रहने के बाद वो उसको लेना आया अपने दोस्त के साथ। उसने वो ताकत धरी यानी कि मैं अब कुछ नहीं करूँगा, मेरे ससुर इसे भेज दो, मैं अब कोई गलती नहीं करूँगा, अब को इसका नहीं मारूँगा।
अभी जब आई थी जी, कब की बात बता रही हैं?
जी 8-10 तारीख 9 तारीख तक का हिसाब है। उसको लेकर चला गया, उसी रात में जाने अगली रात में उसको कर दिया यो काम। घर वालों ने कोई चिंता नहीं करी।
आपको ये बोला कि अब नहीं करेंगे, अब कुछ
करूँगा, गोडों में सिर देकर कहा अब नहीं करूँगा कुछ भी, जिस तरह भी आप कहोगे मैं इस तरह ही करूँगा, आप मेरे साथ भेज दो बच्चों। 5 बच्चे।
तो चलिए, ताहिरा का समझ आ गया हमें, लेकिन ये दोनों बच्चियां तो इनकी खुद की अपनी थी, जो आफरीन और सारीन नाम है उनका जी। उनको भी मारते थे?
हाँ, उनको भी मारता होगा जरूर, उसको नहीं मैं कह सकती। बच्चों का कोई पता नहीं चला, लड़की को बहुत दुखी करता था। मेरे भाई ने सहन करा, उसको यही बोलता रहा अच्छा रखेगा, थम जाओ भी, रुको भी, कुछ नहीं बोलना, रहना बेटे वहाँ। सब अपनी बच्ची को सभी समझाते हैं, सभी कहते हैं, बाकी वो नहीं समझा। इन्होंने सोचा घर उजड़ जाएगा, इधर रखूँ उधर रखूँ, बड़ी बच्ची सैनी होगी, 5 बच्चों की माँ होगी, घर भी नहीं रख सकता।
ताहिरा आप लोगों को बताती थी आके कि ये परेशान करता है, ऐसे मारता है। उसने ये भी पता चल रहा है, उसने ये भी पुलिस को बोला है कि उसने बुर्खा नहीं पहना था, वो इसलिए बहुत गुस्से में था।
हाँ, वो बोला था, वो जो यहाँ आई थी उसने बोला था अगर मुझे भेजोगे तो मौत के घाट उतार देगा यो मुझे। उसने कहा नहीं, जब यो हाथ जोड़ रहा, मिन्नत कर रहा, अर्जू कर रहा, बेटे चला जा, अपना घर बसा, फिर देखेंगे हम जब कब का करेगा यो। उसने यही बात कही थी, तुम मेरा मौत का मुँह देखोगे, और वही मौत का मुँह मेरे भाई ने देख लिया।
All right, so this is a deeply disturbing case that has come in from Shamli of Uttar Pradesh. This 38-year-old man kills his wife and 2 daughters over this fight over burqa. Police say the accused Farooq dug the pits inside his house and buried the bodies. And we have some more breaking news coming in. Asauddin Owaisi refuses to take a stand on the hijab murders. Well, he's part of this hijab lobby, has been at the forefront of it, and now he refuses to react. Instead, he indulges in whataboutery. He says that debate Nitish first. Now, he's referring to the incident when Nitish Kumar had in fact, pulled the face mask, the niqab of a woman during an event, and now he is saying that there should be debate over what Nitish did instead of the hijab murders. So murders, it seems, is not a serious issue. Completely non-serious issue for Asauddin Owaisi of the AIMIM. The hijab lobby turns blind eye, goes mute on the triple murder over hijab in Shamli. And meanwhile, my colleague Shambhavi has filed this report from Shamli where this triple murder took place. Take a look.
We are at the location where this unfortunate, shocking case happened, and we're going to take you through the house. So outside you can see this is in one of the very secluded villages of Shamli, and we're going to take you inside and show you the exact. So this is a very shocking case where a man named Farooq actually murdered his 32-year-old wife Tahira and 12-year-old daughter Afreen and another 5-year-old daughter Sareen. This is inside the house. We are now entering inside the house, and what he did was he actually woke Tahira up in the middle of the night on the pretext of making tea. When she woke up, she was on her way to make the tea, and then he fired on her back. After hearing the gunfire, after hearing the sound of that fire, the elder daughter woke up, and when she woke up, she saw the man Farooq killed his daughter as well. After this, when the younger daughter, the 5-year-old daughter, woke up, he strangled her to death and hid all the 3 bodies in a pit inside this house. So this is the house. Let me show you, and let me also show you the pit in which he buried the 3 women, the 3 ladies, the 32-year-old Tahira, the wife, and the 2 daughters, Afreen and Sareen. Now this is the pit here. This is around 6 feet deep pit, and this was not a murder that was done in a fit of rage, but this was premeditated. He actually dug this up on the context of building up a safety tank for the washroom in his house, and he actually got this done before because his wife had left for her maternal home just a month ago, and he felt that he was being insulted by his wife because he wanted to, the woman 32-year-old Tahira wanted to do things her own way. We're also going to show you around. This is somewhat of just outside the house. You can say the porch area, and locally this is not, you'll see this is not very huge. There's just mostly an elevated side where you can see the bedding and stuff, and there are a lot of construction items as well. Possibly he was collecting all of it to show that they are going to build up that safety tank for the washroom. We're also going to show you around, and there are 2 rooms. One is this room, and they were saying that this is right here on this ground is when Farooq fired at Tahira. This is one of the bedrooms, and the another room that we'll show you is right here. I'll request my VJ to show you this room as well. This looks something like a kitchen on one side, and then there is some bedding involved as well. So this is the house, the same exact house where this murder, this brutal murder happened on 10th of December. And one of the chilling fact about this case is the three bodies were hid in that pit for more than 6 days. This only came to light on Tuesday evening when Farooq's father guessed that there was something wrong. He went to the police filing for a missing persons report, and when the police interrogated Farooq tried to mislead police initially, but then confessed to the murder of all 3 people.
Right now, we were shifting focus to what happened in Madhya Pradesh. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wedding that lit up the skies, ignited a debate at the same time. There are viral videos from Indore that show an opulent celebration for the wedding of the son of BJP MLA Golu Shukla, that complete with grand decor, a religious spectacle and fireworks. Now, these fireworks are reportedly worth 70 lakh rupees. It wasn't just the scale of the celebration that drew attention, it was also the privilege on display with visuals from a restricted area of a temple. That's the Garbhagriha of a temple, where the devotees can't really enter. Now, this was close to the devotees since the COVID-19 pandemic, but here you have the MLA's son and the one who is getting, and his bride, exchanging vows at the Garbhagriha, and the 70 lakh worth fireworks also.
हमारे साथ बीजेपी विधायक गोलू शुक्ला हैं। गोलू जी, आपके बेटे की शादी काफी चर्चाओं में है।
शादी करना कोई गुनाह है क्या? शादी करी है, अच्छे से शादी करी है। बारात लड़की वालों के वहाँ गई, लड़की वालों ने अच्छे से स्वागत करा, सब कुछ अच्छे से हुआ, तो फिर क्या दिक्कत है?
मैं ये बताया यार, 70 लाख की सिर्फ आतिशबाजी हो गई। एक
रसीद है क्या?
रसीद नहीं है, लेकिन जो
लिखा हुआ है, अब आंकड़ा 70 करोड़ का लगा दो, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? वो लड़की वालों की कार्यक्रम था, बारात लड़की वालों के वहाँ गई थी, वो भी मीडिया समूह से ही है, डिजियाना से, आप उनसे बात करो।
एक तरफ बात होती प्रदूषण की, AQI लेवल की, दूसरी तरफ 70 लाख की आतिशबाजी हो जाए।
मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, बारात लेके हम गए थे, हम तो अब वहाँ क्या क्या हुआ ये उनसे पूछो आप।
लेकिन आपके मुख्यमंत्री सामूहिक विवाह करते हैं, सामूहिक विवाह में बेटे की शादी करते हैं, और आप इतनी ज्यादा जो आपने।
मैं भी 50 जोड़ों का सामूहिक विवाह करता हूँ, 51 जोड़ों का अभी फरवरी में सामूहिक विवाह है गरीब बच्चों का, और बहुत अच्छे से और बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से करता हूँ। आप भी उसमें आमंत्रित।
एक और वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है, खजराना गणेश मंदिर का, गर्भगृह में जाकर वरमाला किया, ये भी नियम विरुद्ध बताया जा रहा है।
हजारों लोग गणेश जी के दर्शन करने जाते हैं। आप सुबह से लेकर शाम तक खजराना गणेश मंदिर में रहें तो आपको दिख जाएगा कि सैकड़ों लोग वहाँ दर्शन करते हैं।
आपको कुछ गलती नहीं लग रही इतना पैसा बर्बाद करना, इतनी आतिशबाजी इतनी ज्यादा करना, फिजूल खर्ची करना? आपको ये फिजूल खर्ची नहीं लग रही? थोड़ा सा इधर आ जाइए। फिजूल खर्ची नहीं लग रही?
एक मिनट आराम से, इस तरीके भैया, सैकड़ों लोग दर्शन करने जाते हैं भगवान के, और हमारे परिवार के बच्चे भी दर्शन करने गए थे, उनने अच्छे से दर्शन करे और भगवान का आशीर्वाद लिया। आप एक बार गणेश जी के मंदिर में जाके देखें, सैकड़ों लोग गर्भगृह में दर्शन करते हैं।
लेकिन ये हो रहा है कि इतना पैसा खर्च करना, एक तरफ गरीबों के पास पैसा नहीं, दूसरे इतनी आतिशबाजी, इतनी जश्न और
भैया मेरे को मेरे काम से थोड़ा निकल जाना दो।
So in Madhya Pradesh, 7 million since smoke, and now in the national capital, millions of people are just breathing smoke. Blame game over pollution in the national capital continues. Now, Delhi Environment Minister Manjinder Singh Sirsa has apologized to the people of the Delhi for severe air pollution. Now, he's announced some measures, 50% work from home for government employees. He had just said yesterday that it's impossible to clean the air in 9 to 10 months, blaming the previous Aam Aadmi Party government. And now we also have a sequence where Republic TV reporters had confronted him. Take a look.
Mr. Sirsa, what do you have to say? People are now voting for NOTA over AQI. Any response?
अभी हम पीसी करके हैं ना, अभी पीसी तो करके हैं।
Experts are warning that 10 months would have been sufficient for the government to solve this issue.
क्या तरीका है? आप ऐसे क्यों
response to the situation?
कैसे करके आए सबके साथ बाइट ना, आपने सुना सब कुछ, फिर आप
You're saying it's impossible to solve the problem within 9 to 10 months.
कर रहे हैं आप ऐसा?
What is your response?
ना आप ऐसे क्यों कर रहे हैं? आपको इनको एक को हैंडल कर पाऊंगा ना, तो आप बोले हाँ बताए, आप सुन लिया अंदर ना? सब मैं था नहीं, मैं अंदर। अच्छा नहीं समझा तो आप दूसरे से ले, ऐसा अच्छा नहीं। अब आप बताइए।
You said that it's impossible to solve this issue within 9 to 10 months. Experts are saying that. You apologizing. How do you see this? Do you think people would vote for this after what you have said, that it's impossible? It's impossible to solve this issue. Any response to that, sir? Because the situation is worsening.
Please, आप अपना question तो बताएं.
My questioning, you have apologized that it's impossible to solve this AQI issue. Experts are saying that this could have been if the government had the wheel. Do you think the government has failed?
Who is expert that told you? Can you name that expert? So we can at least have a conversation with them and find out. I think it is not I said it's impossible. I must again reiterate, it's impossible for any government, for any purpose. If it was been possible, then why it took 10 years for Aam Aadmi Party?
So how many years maybe? What many years, week?
Please let me answer your question, please. It is not about the years. It are the what steps are taken. We have to completely go with the fossil fuel vehicles. You should adopt EV vehicles, which we are doing. You need to have an end-to-end carpeting of roads, so there should be no dust. You need to remove that all dumps of legacy waste, which we are otherwise doing. So these are few changes which we have to bring in, and it will bring change in the pollution.
People are voting for NOTA over AQI. Any response to that?
मैंने अभी आपके इंटरव्यू दी थी ना, पूरी इंटरव्यू दी थी। इस पूरी इंटरव्यू दी थी ना आपने। तो मैंने आपको पूरी इंटरव्यू दे के आया हूँ।
How do you see people? People are suffering from respiratory problems, lot of problems, asthma. How do you see that from people?
No, it's a big problem we are facing.
You've shifted the blame.
No, I'm not shifted the blame. No.
The government and the federal
Aam Aadmi Party was here for 10 years. I think you must go and interview Arvind Kejriwal ji for that why they haven't done it in 10 years. If they're expecting to be done in 7-8 months, they should have done it in 10 years.
So what's next then?
We are working on it. We'll let you know again.
Right, shifting focus now. We will slip into short break, but on the other side, coming up, this is exclusive. 7 p.m. Indian Embassy in Dhaka under attack. Radicals are now taking to the streets.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा,
राजा आग और मसाला।
प्लीज स्टॉप। झुमका तेरा झुमका, तेरा झुमका।
Not there. मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका। No. मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
प्लीज स्टॉप। झुमका तेरा झुमका, तेरा झुमका।
Not there. मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका। No. मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरी राजा
प्लीज स्टॉप। झुमका तेरा झुमका तेरा झुमका। नॉट देयर, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा। तेरा झुमका। मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
दादी के हाथों का